Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. So today I want to share with you some channeled information that I received when I asked the question, why is it that only some people have near-death experiences and others don't? Like, does that mean that some people have been closer to death more times than other people? Does it mean that some people are just more cognizant and awake? And so I got some really an interesting answer. Now, before I start, I want to just take a moment because I'm going to read you the first line, and then I'm going, well, actually the first two lines. And then I'm going to take some time to get Masudius to direct channel and explain it, because I think for a lot of you, this might be a little bit of a new concept, because, you know, societally, we have been brought up in an environment where by and large, there's this attitude that we have nothing to do with our passing, that it somehow is God's decision and it's God's choice. And He makes the decision about when you can leave physical form and return to Him, to the heavens, to energy form, however it is you perceive it. And that has actually been one of the incredible disservices, if you will, that has been done to us by the teachings of sort of more traditional religions. Because what it has done, again, is pull the responsibility for our lives away from us. And we're basically told, you know, your job is to do what we tell you. Your job is to believe what we tell you to believe. And when it comes right down to it, God picks and chooses. And if you've been watching this channel for any period of time, you know that that's not how it works. Our lives are co-created literally with the help of the divine. We co-create our soul print. We understand from a spiritual level that we actually have a tremendous amount of power, because the ultimate gift that we received was free will, which means we actually can control to limited degrees what that looks like. And I can hear people out there saying, well, you know what? I had a mother, a brother, a sister, a friend who had a terrible illness, and they struggled and they struggled and they struggled. And how can you tell me that, you know, God wanted them to suffer, or that they chose to suffer because they were in control of when they'd leave? Well, again, sometimes things that we see as tragedies on this plane are not tragedies when looked at from a broader perspective. And very often those people who sort of are struggling to let go of life, there's a whole bunch of different reasons that can happen. One, it can happen because they're scared of dying. Like literally, they're scared and they don't want to go because they don't know what awaits them. They have become so detached sort of from their core spirituality that they just are afraid. You have other people who very often will stay in incredibly difficult and painful situations in terms of passing, because they're waiting for things to complete. They're waiting for other people to sort of figure stuff out or come to terms with. So I just want you to sort of just keep that in perspective and balance. So the first two sentences that I asked when I said, you know, so why do some people have near-death experience and others not? Here was the first two-sentence answer. When a soul returns to earth when a soul returns to earth form, physical reality, there are put in place several predetermined exit times. These dates are times when a soul, if it chooses, can depart the earth and return home to the other side of the veil. So, very often, one of the ways that you can identify the fact that you have sort of passed one of those predetermined times is because you're going to have sort of an interesting experience. Maybe you have a car accident. That's always a really frequent one. Maybe you get really sick, or maybe you recover from sickness. Maybe you decide that you spent too much of your life focused in this one area and you're now going to shift your focus. Those can often be indicators that somewhere within our soul print, somewhere at a deeper level, we have decided that, you know what, I'm not quite done yet. I'm not quite finished what I want to accomplish. And so I'm going to hang around. And so there is an energetic sort of shift that takes place to not facilitate the continued life, because that's already sort of established and set in place, but to sort of help shift, if you will, the forward direction of a lifetime. So let me get back to the wise words of Masudius, shall we? I'm going to start again just because I have been rambling. Okay. When a soul returns to earth form physical reality, there are put in place several predetermined exit times. These dates are times when a soul, if it chooses, can depart the earth and return home to the other side of the veil. Again, remember, a soul print has several different wish lists when it plans its return. So there can be put into place the option of returning to spirit form as plateaus are reached or remembered, as goals are accomplished, or even if the soul decides it isn't ready or desirous of continuing with an existing plan. Often, if you reflect on your life journey, you will be able to identify times when you should not have survived that accident, or you healed or recovered miraculously. Times when you seem to change directions in your life on a dime. These are evidence of an exit from your earth form and the decision to continue with your soul print journey and the subsequent return to earth's reality. Remember, time as you know it is only time as you know it. Time does not exist outside of your realm in your way, in the way you understand it. So an experience can happen in soul form that you would perceive is taking time, but in the earth realm can happen or seemingly happen in a nanosecond. The soul can even choose to return before the event or instantaneously during or after. Lost time or memory blanks are the earth name for these events. Alternatively, you can and do witness or know of stunning soul exits. That shouldn't have killed him. She was fine one minute and gone the next. They went to sleep and never woke up. Each and every soul experiences these times when free will is making choices and decisions that reflect one way on earth and very differently from a higher vibrational perspective. So then, why do some remember and others not? So, understand from what I've just read, everyone has near-death experiences. We just don't see them as such because we may not remember them as such, right? It might just be that sense of I've lost track of time. Or I don't know, I just all of a sudden feel better. Or I just think I'm kind of done with this aspect of my life and I'm going to change direction and I'm going to go off and do something else. We often don't need to remember the experience because our soul benefits from the experience, whether we remember it or not. So then, why do some remember and others not? Perhaps it serves no purpose in that soul's journey to have that remembrance. Or remembering can help validate thoughts and feelings, which will aid in the Soulprint experience. So again, there's reasons for and against retaining the memory of the experience or having the experience sort of in a conscious way. There are those who remember for the benefit of others, either within the circle of their adventure or more recently and with far-reaching energy and awareness to share that remembrance with other citizens of the earth for their comfort, growth, and understanding. There have been many books and movies recently that have the purpose of sharing certain spiritual understandings and concepts that can then reach out to many more people who may be searching for insights or answers. You will notice that while there are similarities in the telling of events, there is not only one right way. There are as many variations as there are souls. That which we bring with us to the earth, either at birth or along the way, have been, are, and will continue to be those understandings, gifts, and insights that each soul wishes to have in place for its journey. Just as you have placed us and this channeled work in the path of your journey, perhaps it is a word, a sentence, or a concept that you wish to be reminded of, and together with your guides, spirit advisors, angels, and ascended masters, and all the others who play a role in your experience, we humbly thank you and continue to wish for you and surround you with divine love, light, and energy. We remain at this time Masudius. So, it's sort of an interesting thing when you start to think of some near-death experiences is almost like a moment in time where you are able to, maybe not consciously, but from a higher level of vibration, excuse me, you are able to make a decision about the direction that you want your life to go or not to go in. And, we have all had these experiences, right? You're in a car accident and you've lost a moment. You've lost a period of time. And it could just be a flash of time as we know time, where you just don't have an answer. This and this and this happened. And then and then this happened, right? That may very well be an indicator that there was a moment where you went into a near-death experience, had a moment of evaluation in terms of what you do or don't want to be present in your journey forward. And again, we know people who have had really difficult deaths or have died from painful diseases. But yet, somehow, their actual passing ended up being very gentle, very soft. They just sort of looked around and said, I'm done now. Goodbye. And they go. You have other people who should be okay, and they're not. I will share with you a personal example, and this one always sort of blows me away just a little bit because it really can be an indicator or give some clarity to the power that we actually hold over our own life and death. So I had a cousin, and he had sort of troubles with his veins, okay? Like the veins were closing up. They were becoming like calcified. So he went into the hospital because they were going to do some surgery on his leg or legs to try to get these veins opened up again and sort of restore feeling in his foot and whatever. So he went under, they did the surgery, he came back out, he was fine, he was alert, he was talking, he was back from surgery. And they said, well, unfortunately, the news is pretty bad, and we're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be looking at, frankly, a double amputation. And I wasn't there, but people who were there literally said, he went, I just don't see how that's going to work for me. And took a deep breath and stopped breathing. And he was gone. You also have experiences where people come out of, a really bad motor vehicle accident or a fall or something like that. And they're like, we don't know. We don't know how you didn't die. And even at the end of the spectrum where there is more violence, right, where you hear of either accidents or actual violence, aggressive violence, like a knife wound or a bullet wound, and you hear that expression, if it had just been 10 millimeters one way or the other, you wouldn't be here. But probably the event caused on some level significant reevaluation about the direction your life was going or not going. So that, I guess, in a nutshell, is why some people remember and others don't near-death experiences, but do understand that we all have them, just in various ways, at various times, and at various levels of consciousness. Thank you for joining me here at Soulprint Insights. Until next time, stand in your power and stand in your light.